Good morning. Today is the 26th of March 2024 and I'm going to go through my levels for today. As always, before we start, let's check the news, which could potentially be moving the market. And I can see we've had durable goods at 8:30. We saw a bit of a negative move after that, and we've got house price index right now. The next big one is at 10 AM and that's consumer confidence, so that's in an hour's time, so something to keep an eye on, and there's not much afterwards. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at, so I'm just getting an error coming up. If you can't hear me, leave a message or a comment, but it looks like it's okay on my end. Just had an error message pop up saying there's no audio. But anyway, if there is no audio, this is a live video, just leave a comment and I'll check it out for tomorrow. And obviously if you can hear me say that, then it sounds like it's probably all okay. So levels for today, we've got similar levels to yesterday. I'm kind of watching down here for a bounce, 52.52 and 52.50 for a bounce, same levels we were watching. And that also comes off the hourly. We've got the hourly trend line. The daily trend line goes back to October 2022. So kind of keeping an eye on, that's an area I'm watching for a bounce. And I'll probably be looking, I've got an alert set for just before 52.60, but I'm looking to really get in around 52.50, 52.52. So that's really the main level I'm watching. We can watch a higher risk, or a higher risk bounce area will be the pre-market low area, and yesterday's low, that's coming off of this hourly trend line. So we've got this trend line connecting these top and end, the upper ends of the candles. We can probably clone that underneath as well. So we kind of got that area there, this channel. But what I'm really looking for is, we've seen it broken out of the channel and I want it to come back down and retest the channel or the trend line again. So I'm looking for a break and retest at around 52.80, that area, pre-market low area to yesterday's low. So that's another higher risk bounce, but it's within the trend, and as we know, we're in a big daily uptrend. However, we are, something to notice is waning volume right now, so volume's declining while the price, we've been declining over time. Let's just go back to look at the day. So it could be, I could either indicate pulling back, which you normally get on when we're going to continue to move up, and then we might see it break out. This could be the breakout, or we could just see it starting to pull back on lower volume, because we really wanted to get back down to this 52.50 area for a bounce. That's the area I'm watching. And that's it. So I just got some error messages popping up on my screen, so I'm just kind of reviewing them, saying that the video is not smooth, apparently not receiving enough video, YouTube, whatever that means. But if it works, great. If it doesn't, leave a comment and I can look into that for the next one. I got some higher risk rejection areas as well. Don't really like any rejections. The only place I can see is a rejection near 53.10 to 5300. 5300 is a psychological number, and you can see we came into that today, touched it and rejected. So I'm looking for maybe a double top up in that area. And 53.10 through to the all-time highs, these two areas here, it's an area we can watch. Technically now that's our supply zone. Let's just mark it up. Hourly supply. And you can see the tops of these candles come into that area of supply as well. And what I'm looking for is usually looking for the tail and then the body of the next candle, the reversing candle. That's kind of why it's a bit of a wide area, but we can watch that area for a rejection. And that's it really. So to recap, I'm watching for a bounce down in this region, 52.50 area. We've got this entire area we can watch for a bounce. And I'm watching for a higher risk bounce. Let's remove that as yesterday's. area was watching for rejection, so I'm going to be watching around yesterday's around this area. 52.80, 52.77, 52.75 for a bounce for this break and retest or this trend line, and that's it really. I want to go with the still want to go with the trend, and there's nothing really. If we do break over, we could also watch pre-market high for break and retest long. They seem to work pretty well, but you know, with lower volume this week, you can see that the volume is much lower than we usually get. If you look at the previous weeks, we've got much higher volume amounts, so it's difficult to trade. So it might be a sit on hands day. So let's look at SPY next. So SPY, exactly the same. If we come down into the pre-market low, down into 50, 519, 50, 520, we can look for a bounce in that area. So let's just readjust that. Kind of watching this area here for a bounce on that trend line. And obviously we're still watching this 518. Oh, that's the level I just moved. Kind of quite like that area there, the 518 bounce, 518.20, just off this double top. I've got an alert set, so if it does get down there, I know I can keep an eye on things. And then we've got these all-time highs area, trying to find the only area of confidence I can see is where we just rejected bottoms candles, bottoms, tops candles, and we've rejected, so that kind of worked. And then we're kind of looking at all-time highs, 523.81, but probably 530 is a round number. That's the only rejection area. Round number, psychological number, so we can keep an eye up here. If we get that high, we can also keep an eye on the all-time highs for rejection as well, 524, and that will probably be around that area. Let's give it that one. But yeah, keep it tight, and really want to see it come back down into this area here, 518. That's the main area I'm watching. So NASDAQ, kind of looking a little bit stronger than ES. Made a new all-time high a few days ago. Potentially we're looking at this inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and this is the neckline area. So broken it, we're retesting the neckline. So we could take a higher risk, bounce right now, break and retest on the neckline area. Or we can look for break and retest of the pre-market high, break, retest, and long, and then target can be the all-time highs. And then bounce wise, still watching this 18,360 to 18,372 for a bounce. 18,400 is a round psychological number. That's it really on NASDAQ. Qs next, QQQs, exactly the same. If we pull back down into this region here, 440, kind of watch it for a bounce. We got point of control around that area there, so 438, that's potentially could be a stop area. If you put your stop loss below and look for a long up. Otherwise, hard to reject. I don't really, and probably the other ones we spoke about previously, I don't really want to reject. We can look for a rejection at 450, that's a round number, psychological number. Or we can look for a break and retest a pre-market high, and that is currently at 447.50. Let's quickly look at SPX. There's only one number I'm watching here, 5200, and we can also watch 5300 above. So those are the two areas we can keep an eye out for. So we can look for rejections up at 5300, or we can look for bounces at 5200. If we go onto the daily, you can see this yellow line, that's the weekly trend line, which goes back 24 years. And you know, we're pretty extended, as you can see. We're far away from the 20, the 50, the 200, and we're coming in. We've gone through this weekly trend line, and don't forget, even though it's a line, it's a region. This line can be anywhere. we could be looking something like that as a zone, something like that as a weekly zone, so we could be looking in that area. So we're kind of looking at this area here for potential rejection, as that 24-year-old trend line can act as a area of resistance, and that's kind of what I'm hoping it will be, because that's kind of what I expect it to do. But can't really, you just got to play the chart, and at the moment it's broken above it, it's still looking bullish, but we are pretty extended from all the moving averages, and we are due a bit of a pullback. We haven't had a pullback since the end of last year, no, December. Last time was this major one here, October. So if we do pull back, we've got a potential area, this area here, 4,600 for a bounce. Next is gold. See this trend line, pull back, came out close to retesting, point of control, came into that area, and we're looking at an inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then it hasn't really, this is the break and the retest potentially. So we can look at a bounce at yesterday's high, this area here for a bounce up, or we can look for continuation, break and retest a pre-market low. That's the only places I can really see. Crude oil, it's kind of broken that hourly downtrend. It's starting to curve around a little bit now as well, so it's curving around, and you know, again, we've got kind of a head and shoulders pattern, but not really a great one. But we definitely got this area of confidence. We're coming back in for the break and retest of that area. So we can look for a long at pre-market low, which will be coming off of the 50 moving average, and maybe the 200 will catch up by then to continue the trend up. Or we can look for the break and retest of pre-market high, probably yesterday's high. Levels we've had in place, look at that. So we had this level in place a couple of days ago, and based on this area here, touched it there, was that yesterday's pre-market, and we're coming back into that area now, so we can watch that area. RTY, which is the E-mini Russell's 2000, kind of looking like we want to break out. I do quite like this. So a break and this is a daily. We can watch for a break and retest for a swing. This is the key area, 21.30 roughly. Let's go into the hourly. So we get above this area, we can look for the break and actually breaking out of that massive long. How long we've been in that area now? Since the start of 2022, 2021. So we've kind of been trading within this area, and it looks like it wants to kind of put in a swing up. Hasn't come all the way back down. Increasing volume as well, increasing volume again there, so kind of showing a bit of increase in volume. Maybe it's getting ready to make the push, and then the next push will probably be out, and we can watch for momentum by more volume. So that will give us the momentum to get out of this zone and break out above this area of currently its supply. So on the hourly, it's a strong rejection area anyway, big area of supply, so we can watch this area for a reject. Bearing in mind, you know, we are looking for a break and retest on the daily at some point. And then bounce wise, the only place I can see for a bounce is down here, 48, 20.50 basically for a bounce, and that's it. Maybe 20.75 as well for a bounce. That's just areas of confidence where there's the most touches. But the point of control is down here as well, so around the 20.45 area. So 20.50, we've got a defined stop loss as well down there. We use this pivot. YM, Dow Jones, this is the hourly, and we can see we've broken out through this zone, this region, finally. And then we come back in, we're retesting this area, so it's a potential bounce area right now, so we're kind of retesting it there. And if we can stay above the 200, then we can look for long. So here's game plan, break and retest of 39,800, break and retest long. So get above, come down, and then it will be holding above this red line, which is a 50 moving average. And then if we pull right back, then we can watch for a bounce. The only place I can see is down at 39,500, 39,400 there, this area here, which is kind of this area here. That's a bounce area. And that's it. And then before we finish, let's look at Bitcoin. We've been talking about this for a while. Let's get rid of that trend line. Don't need that now. So we've got this trend line. We came through yesterday. We saw it come out, break through it. We haven't seen any retest of this area yet. We could see it come back down, retest, and then long. But what worries me is the decline in volume as we're pushing out. So looking like weaker volume. So we talked about potentially looking at a head and shoulders pattern. So this is the left shoulder, the head, and this could be the right shoulder forming right now. And then the neckline can be this area. This kind of area here happens to be on the 50. So if the head and shoulders plays out, we could see a bit of a rejection down here, and then a break, retest, and then downward trend. So keep an eye on that. I know there's a halving event coming up, but what does it for me is just this volume down here. Declining volume, really low volume, especially on this pullback. The only high volume we had was on this indecision candle, usually top and tail and bottom tail. So don't think there's any trade unless we're trading the head and shoulders pattern. Maybe the break below this candle here for the short. But it's strong at the moment, hard to go short on strong stocks, and this is one of them. That's the daily, so let's go into the hourly, see how we look. Here we go, area of confidence right now. Bottoms candles, tops of candles, kind of expected it to do that. Still in an hourly uptrend as well, so it's kind of broken this downtrend. Hard to go short. Me, I'm sitting out of this, but it's good to watch. ES, see if anything happened in the last few minutes, which is still sold off a bit more. So we're kind of watching now for a bounce in this region, 52.77 for a breakaway test on this trend line. And also we've got these pivots from yesterday's low as well. We can watch out for a bounce. Point of control, this line here, which goes all the way through, is at that pre-market low as well. So keep an eye on pre-market low. That's a potential bounce area. So just recap levels for today. Watching for a bounce down at 52.50. Down in this area happens to be this daily trend line as well. Or I'm looking for a bounce yesterday's low and the pre-market low, that area there, and that's got a bit of volume in that area as well, but we're kind of up in all-time high territory, so there's not much volume as compared to where we've been trading through the last few weeks. And then if we see buying come back into the market, 5300, which happens to be where we rejected pre-market, through to 5310, which is got a couple of tops of candles and the bottoms of that pivot there. Area of confidence, we'll watch out for a rejection, but rejections against the trend are higher risk, and bounces with the trend like maybe this one, even though it's near to where we are, it's higher probability. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. After this will be the live stream of order flow. So we've got the order flow charts. We've got also shows you any large orders. The red lines on the side will show you where there's any large orders, a bit like that red line. So you can use that as a guide, 5280, kind of like my bookmap replacement. And then if you want to see historic orders, you can have a look on these two charts on the left. So this is the same as the footprint here, but this is volume only, and it's 30 minutes. And what I look for is these yellow bars. That shows you where the highest amount of volume has been traded at that price. And then down here, this is a filtered footprint chart. So same as this, but 30 minutes. And it shows you filtered orders, anything over, I think it's anything over 500, or it might have been over 500 orders at each price So everything else is 0 apart from the areas where we've got big orders. So again, you can use this as an area of historic resistance or support if it's down here. And what I'm looking for on these 30-minute charts is, what I'm really looking for is if we come into these areas, let's turn the crosshair on. If we're coming into that area there, I'm looking for like areas where we've got 1, 2, 3 kind of point of controls in a row. And that shows you there's the most amount of volumes traded in this area. And if we do pull back up, we can use that as either a stop loss, or you can look for potential reversals at that area. And that's it. And obviously you've got the divergence chart at the bottom. So this is a 2-minute candlestick, so nothing special about that. But this is a cumulative this is a cumulative delta divergence. Cumulative delta, so what I'm looking for is here it looks like it's all in sync. You're looking for trends, so if that's trending down, this should also trend down. But if you see this price trending up while price is trending down, then potentially there's more aggressive buying going on even during these red candles. So that's when you can sit up and take notice, because there could be a price reversal coming. Okay, that's it. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and also help support the channel. Also look out for the live order flow video coming up.